you wrestling Stampede, obviously Germany and Mexico in the next year or so, and especially in the early years, before one of your most notable runs when you get to Memphis. And I was going to actually ask this, is who is the worst payoff man, Jerry Jarrett or Dale Martin or Max Crabtree or Stu Hart?
Um, Dale Martin's. Yeah, Dale Martin's and Stu Hart.
Hmm. Did you actually enjoy Memphis? Because Canada's one thing because it's in the Commonwealth and it's got sort of some British tradition still there. But now you're going into the Southern American territories with the exotic Adrian character. How did they first react to you?
They couldn't believe it. I mean, when I worked for Jared, first of all, the first match I had was on a TV show, and I was wrestling with
Ira Reese.
Yeah, I was wrestling with a guy called Ira Reese. He was a black wrestler. I'm wrestling away and everything like that. The next thing is I tie him up and I give him a kiss. And I didn't know at the time, but the cameras went out all over the place and all the rest of it. I got out and Jerry said, "Oh my God," he said, "you killed my business." "Oh my God," he said, like, "Oh, what have you done?" He said, "You kissed a black man on television." He said, "Oh," he said, the switchboard, he said, the switchboard's lit up. Again, calls, like, "Who's this guy?" Like, what, blah, 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 blah. I said, "Great." I said, like, "Great." He said, like, he said, "You killed me. You killed a business." At that time, we used to do a double. We'd wrestle there in the morning on a TV show. Then we'd drive from there, from Memphis up to Nashville, and do a show in the farm center there. Normally, their house was like what they'd actually bring in was $2,500 was like their gate. If they had like a big angle going, it could go up to 4. I went up there now for the first time. People had already seen TV that day. There was 8,000 in.
Ooh.
It was actually double their best. The next week it was 12,000, and that's as much as you could get in there. The whole time we were there, it never went less than 10,000.
Dutch Mantel.
The week after we left, it went right back down to where it was before.
Dutch Mantel told me last week.
That is why Jerry would always try to bring me back in, even if it was only for a week or two. And that way I got top money from him. Well, I get a guarantee.
Yeah, but that actually, I was going to say something else, but that actually brings me to another point, is that you never stayed too long in any one territory, which tells me that you knew your value was partially shock value as well. So if you stayed too long in one place, people would get acclimatized, and it's the law of diminishing returns. So you were very clever in that way.
Yeah, well, you've answered the question.
Yeah. Well, what I was actually going to say was Dutch Mantel told me last week was no matter if it was Jerry Lawler in the main event or some other big main event, people were paying to see you over the main event, and people would have come to see you even if you weren't wrestling. That's how big of a draw you were the first time you got to Memphis.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a fact.
How long was your initial run? How long was your initial run in Memphis?
I'll tell you what happened there is there was like a power struggle. Bill Dundee actually actually contacted me and brought me into the territory because he was doing the booking for him at the time. He was a booker and matchmaker, but he would have 6 months doing that, and then Jerry Lawler would have 6 months doing it. So my initial run there was I actually got fired, even though I was earning more money than I was drawing more than anybody there. But when Bill Dundee's 6 months came to an end and Jerry Lawler got in, he was like jealous of what I was doing, and he was bringing his own team in, and he wanted to replace people and everything like that. And I was one of the ones he replaced. But as it happens, he did me a favor because he actually put me in touch with Eddie Graham. So I went from there down to Tampa.
Before we go on to Florida, I'll ask a few more things about Memphis. And one thing is Southern wrestling is different from Stampede, which is different from British. How was there any trouble adjusting your style to a Southern audience? And especially, was there any trouble not working the round system anymore and just doing one long match?
Oh, I mean, I'd sort of gotten over doing the rounds. That didn't bother me at all. But the thing is, I wasn't worried about whatever style I was put in the ring with, because I've wrestled with all different kinds of styles. Like I told you, Sambo wrestlers, oil wrestlers, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu wrestlers, all different kinds of Oriental ones. So the thing is, I went in the ring and wrestled, and I did what I wanted to do. And if I wanted to give my opponent something like a bit of a speaking part to make the match more interesting, that was up to me. If he had an attitude problem, he'd get nothing.